This is a charcoal stomp, piece of rolled up paper that you use to smear charcoal around, and I'm sharpening it so that I can smear with precision. Sometimes I wish I had a tank of frogs to use as models, but I can't bear the thought of having them as captives.
Really?
Yeah.
Captives.
Captives, you know, so they have to sit in a glass tank instead of being able to get out and enjoy the world as they were intended. Seems harsh.
Could you raise frogs in your yard, though?
Well, I don't have to. The yard is crawling with frogs, but they're tree frogs, so they're not useful to me. I need to draw either green-headed frogs or edible frogs or bullfrogs.
You need to?
Well, they're the classic frog shapes. Tree frogs are great, but they're so small. You can't really make out their features. I want to be able to draw the ears and the markings and all of those frog-like things that people think of when they think of a frog. There we go. There's our man right there. If there's anything harder than drawing the iris of a frog's eye, I don't know what it is. Drawing a frog's eye is always completely fraught because it has this, the iris has this incredible texture or pattern of little golden flecks distributed in a unique pattern that is extremely difficult to duplicate in drawing. And we'll probably have to come in here with some white pencil. Add those things. This is the first version of the image that I'm drawing in charcoal now, where the frog is shoveling people into its mouth and clasping this woman with its bifurcated tongue, and the people like it. They enjoy the fact that they're disappearing into the frog. I can dig it. Might be kind of fun, but I decided to do something else with it. I decided to have the frog coming up on the shore and disgorging people into the landscape. So I guess they are immigrants fleeing some terrible situation, and they're happy to be there. This picture is going to take a long time to do because after I get down all of the basic shapes in the rendering, I'm going to have to go in and add all of the texture to the frog's skin, all of the little warts. I've started to do it here. You can see that I've just begun to add a little bit of frog-like texture, little wrinkles, little bumps in the skin. I have to do that over this whole thing where it's appropriate. This kind of wrinkle in the skin here. It won't look right if that's not where it should be in this picture. That's going to take some doing, so I have that to look forward to. But I like doing it. I like doing that kind of stuff. Because they're tricky, they're hard to figure out. And when you do it, it's a nice feeling. I'll probably spend at least 2 days just working on this frog's head. And then when I'm done with the drawing, I have no idea what will happen to it. No idea what I'll do with it.
How often do you have specific commissions? Do you take specific commissions? Or do you...
Oh yeah, yeah. The oil painting in the other room is a commission. And when I do commissions, I don't allow people to dictate the subject matter to me. If somebody suggests they want a picture of something that's simpatico, I'll do it happily, but if somebody asks me to do a picture that has certain props in it that are important to them but mean nothing to me, then I won't do it. And it's not even because I'm averse to doing it, it's because whenever I try to do anything that is not dictated by my own desires or interests, it doesn't turn out. I end up not liking it. The person who made the commission ends up not liking it. Nobody's happy. One problem I sometimes have is that people who like my work ask me to draw something for them, and then they don't like it because it doesn't do for them what the drawings they've seen that they did like do. So I have to make sure people like what they get from me, and sometimes the only way to do that is to not give them anything. Sometimes I wonder if I'd had any formal art training, if it would have injured my ability to do the things that I have done. But perhaps that would have been better, you know. You know, there are artists, maybe the majority of artists, who have got an approach worked out so that they can produce their work, and they know how long it's going to take, and they know what they're doing, and they know why they're doing it. They know how to do it, and I don't know any of that stuff. I'm operating entirely on instinct, and not a compulsion, but a drive to do this. And I feel like a man going down a staircase in the dark, just trusting that the next step will be there, trusting that I won't just go tumbling into the void because I can't see where I'm going. As it is, it's just one drawing after another and no sense of where they're going or why I'm doing it or anything. See, a frog's mouth is white on the inside, but I can't make it look white because it has to look like these people are emerging from a cave. So I'm going to have to, and also it's mottled and it's wrinkled and it's kind of creepy looking in there. So I'm going to end up spending God only knows how long working on this, the rendering of this creature's mouth. Before it's done. And to what end, I ask you? The eye sockets in a frog's skull are holes that go down into the roof of its mouth so that it can drop its eyes down into its head, and they protrude through the roof of its mouth. And they have all kinds of things going on in there. They have these little teeth in the upper jaw, some of them. They have vomerine teeth for holding prey while they eat it. They have all kinds of little cavities and sinuses and things in there, and it's all very flexible. It's always moving and stretching. They're really very complicated creatures, and they are interesting as symbols of kind of a spiritual consciousness, because they sit still for hours and hours and hours without moving, but they're not at all unconscious. You can't sneak up on them. They're still, but they're completely alert. very in the moment, as they say. And when they move like greased lightning. People ask me sometimes why I draw so many frogs. And aside from the fact that they're beautiful, which is the reason, if you think about it, frogs are actually wonderful symbols for a drawing. They don't look like people, but they can be made to be weirdly anthropomorphic. For something as unhuman as a frog is, they lend themselves amazingly well to stand-ins for human beings. And I would always rather show an army of frogs fighting than an army of people. There's a kind of picture that I would really like to make, but I haven't developed the courage to throw myself into it and invest the time in experimenting and discovering how to do it. But I would like to make large, radiant oil paintings that are inherently positive, very sweet, very bright, kind of shocking in their intensity. I have the feeling that if I could do that, it would bring me a lot closer to my ultimate goal of expressing in really clear terms my feelings about the nature of reality and the role that we occupy in our own lives of being sort of mired in human nature and always trying to find a way to make the best parts of it prevail.